when you're either living or just camping in a van, it's really helpful if you can get multiple uses out of each piece of equipment. And I'm going to show you how you can turn a solar panel into a table today. This is a 100-watt solar panel. I use this to charge my solar generator when I'm on the road. And one of the things you'll notice about this is, like most solar panels, it's got a glass surface. It's got an aluminum frame around it. It seems to me that this would make a nice table if we had a stand for it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a PVC pipe frame that will act as a stand to hold it as a table. And we have 4 legs on it. We'll also have an option to just put 2 legs on it, which will allow it to be a stand to use to aim the solar panel at the sun for optimal charging. I'm going to size this so that it'll be the correct height for my camping chair. Also, one of the things you'll want to notice about it is that it is fairly long. It's 41 inches long and 19 inches wide. This is going to make a nice table. I could be able to put a laptop on here, or I could eat a meal off of it. Some solar panels are more square. They're not as long as this one. So depending on the size and shape of your solar panel, it may or may not be optimal for a table. If it's certainly not wide enough for you to sit underneath, you're going to have problems with that. But this one, fortunately, is 41 inches long, so it should be a nice size to make a table. So the parts we're going to need to make our table stand are going to be all PVC. We're going to have 2 10-foot long, 1-inch diameter pieces of PVC. This should be enough length of pipe for us to do what we need to do. Depending on the size of your solar panel, you may need more or less. In addition to the 2 1-inch pieces of PVC that are 10 feet long, we have the appropriate end caps that we'll be able to put on these. So this will go in like this to act as a foot. And then, so those 2 components you can purchase for about $10 at your local home improvement store. That's what it cost me. Now, these pieces here, you're not going to find at your local home improvement store. These are furniture grade PVC pipe pieces that should go on like this. You can get a 4-pack of these off of Amazon for about $13. So I'll have a description of all the parts as well as a link to the these furniture grade corner pieces in the video description. So that's what we're going to use. The total cost for this came in at about $23.50 or so, including tax. That's using Prime shipping. So the first step is we're going to build the frame. And in order to do that, we need to measure and see how much room we have in between these rails. You can see that even though that the solar panel itself is a little over 19.5 inches, we've got to fit a frame inside here that's just shy of 17 inches. So looks like it's about 16 7/8 inches of space inside there. So we're going to have to cut a piece of pipe that will fit inside here. But we're also going to have to account for the size of these corner pieces themselves. So if we cut this piece of pipe to 16 7/8, it's not going to fit inside there when we put these end pieces on. So the first thing we have to do is figure out how much these end pieces add to the total length. So I'm going to do that by putting a reference line on here, and the reference line is going to be at about, we'll just pick a number here. We're going to go at 3 inches in. Put a line on that. And now we're going to put one of these pipe pieces on here, and we're going to make it as firm as we can. So it's in there pretty strong, so we know that. Now, if we go to the end of this and look at our reference line, we see that we are at about just shy of 4.5 inches. So it's probably right at 4.5 actually. So it looks like the corner pieces are going to be 1.5 inches each. So instead of 16 and 7/8, we want to cut our pipe to be 3 inches less than that. So 1.5 inches for this piece and 1.5 inches for that piece on the other end is going to knock 3 total inches off. So instead of 16 and 7/8, we'll go to 13 and 7/8 for the length of our first piece. So we'll mark that. And this is probably not the best measuring tool to use, so I'm actually going to use a yardstick or a ruler and measure it. Okay, we're going to use the chop saw. Make sure you have glasses, safety glasses on. Line it up. Okay, now we're going to see if we fit. You may find that your measurements are a little bit off. If you make a mistake in your measurements, try to measure too long and then cut the pipe down rather than cutting it too short. As you can see, this just fits in here. It's snug enough to hold itself in place actually, so that's perfect. So I'm going to cut another piece that's going to be identical in length to the piece that I cut for this end. I'm going to use the same measuring technique to get the longwise pieces, and then we'll have our frame. There's going to be one little gotcha that we'll have to deal with, but I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. So now I've got the frame assembled. All the leg holes are facing the same way. Make sure you do that. And then if you try to test fit this into the frame of the solar panel, you'll see that we have a little issue because there's a junction box sticking out on the bottom. Now fortunately, I should be able to cut a little notch in that pipe that will allow the frame to fit all the way against the solar panel, but still have enough strength to support the table. So I'll work on that next. The first step is going to be to mark the ends so we know how far to cut this. Then we're also going to measure the height of this, and that'll help guide me in cutting the notch as well. Okay, basically I use the chop saw to shave this down, just cut down a little bit into it and then move the pipe back and forth, which ate away a little notch in it. And now if we get it at the correct angle, it should sit right in here flush. And it looks like that's pretty good. I might cut a little bit more of a notch right in the middle to work around this little flange that's sticking out, but it's pretty close. Okay, I've got the piece in there. Now let's see if we can just snap this into place. Let's put it in at the bottom first, and then it just snaps in the top, and there we have it. We've now got the frame for our table. It stays in there pretty snugly, but we can still snap it right out when we need to. The next thing we need to do is cut some legs. So this is my camping chair, and I've basically determined that right about here. We're at 20.5 inches at the top of my legs. If I want to put a table in here and put a computer on it to type, probably around 24 inches would be good. That gives me a little bit of clearance for my legs. I should be able to sit back, type this way. I'm going to cut the legs to 24 inches now. Because of those corner pieces, they're really going to be 25.5, and then we've got the feet that go on there that's going to add a little bit more to it. But I'm going to cut them to 24 inches and see how that works, because I can always cut them shorter, but it's really hard to make them longer again after you've cut them short. So let's go ahead and cut those and see how it works. Okay, now it's time to fit all the legs on. Then we're going to put some feet on it. Now, you could glue some pieces together. For example, you might just want to glue your frame together and leave your frame permanently in your solar panel just as a place to store it. You might want to glue these feet onto the bottom. You'll need to use a special 2-part PVC glue. It comes in 2 cans. There's a pink and a blue, but you can find instructions on how to glue PVC pipes together somewhere else on YouTube. But you want to leave your legs so you can remove these legs. This way you can store it. And as you can see, the legs would all fit inside here. So this would all be flat out in your van, and then you just stick these legs on and you're good to go with the table. So let's see how it looks. Now, push it in. It's not going to be super stable. You're not going to want to put a significant amount of weight or stress on it side to side, but it should easily be something you can eat off of or use a small computer on, like a laptop. So let's see, I'm going to grab the chair and see how we did on the height. So it's a little bit high, but this might actually work out pretty well. If it doesn't, after I use a little bit, I'll just cut a little bit off of each leg to get it to the ideal height. So that's it. Now, if you wanted to set your solar panel out to actually use it as a solar panel, you could take 2 of the legs off. So let's just take these 2 legs off, and now gently set it down, and then we could use this as a stand that will allow us to aim it towards the sun for optimal recharging of our solar generator. So hope this video was helpful. This is a way to basically create a table that takes 0 additional space in your vehicle, as long as you just throw the legs in, leave the frame inside the aluminum frame. So leave your PVC frame inside the aluminum frame, and you're not going to take any real appreciable amount of additional space, and you've got a table. So if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you want to. Thanks.